And you are live.
Good evening, and welcome to the Trotwood-Madison Board of Education work session, Thursday, August 6, 2020, live stream via YouTube in accordance with COVID-19 recommendations at 5:30 p.m. Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Andrews.
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman.
She's on mute.
She can't hear
anybody.
You're on mute, and if you turn your volume up, maybe on the computer, if that's an option, Ms. Jeter Freeman, because that's happened to us.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Can you hear us? I'm going to just say test, test. Okay. She cannot hear us. No? Can't hear us. Is there a dial-in number too, Ms. Allen? Because sometimes you can be on, but listen in.
That would be a Luke question, and I think he's still on. Is he still on?
Yes.
Luke.
I'm here. Yes. Would you guys like the phone number?
Yes. Could you send it to Ms. Jeter Freeman, please?
Yes, ma'am. I will email it to her.
And in the chat, we'll tell her that we are sending the phone number. Okay. Okay. Miss Allen?
Yes, it's
Ms. Freeman.
I think she's on. Mrs. Jeter Freeman, can you hear us? Can you just say yes?
I don't think she can hear us. Can't hear us? Okay. We're going to send her over a dial-in number, so she'll be able to see us and hear us. Okay? So what I'm going to have you do is continue to call the roll.
Okay. All right.
Okay, now she has to put it on you. Okay. I think she can hear you now. Can you hear us on your phone, Miss Jeter Freeman?
She's on mute.
Okay, unmute your phone. Miss Jeter Freeman, now she's redialing in. Technology is wonderful when it works, okay? So welcome to this virtual world of it's not working tonight, all right? Miss Jeter Freeman, can you hear us if you unmute your phone only? She can hear you now, Miss Allen. So continue with the roll call, please.
Miss Jeter Freeman. Okay, I heard her say yes. Okay. Mrs. Bozeman.
Yes.
And Miss Moore.
Yes.
I want to make sure Mr. Scarce is not on the call. I don't see him on the call. So I just wanted to double check that. So those four are present.
Okay. I thought I saw Mr. Scarce. No?
Okay.
All right.
Can you let's double. Okay. I don't see him on the list.
Okay. Yes. The meeting has been called to order. All right. Ms. Bozeman, Vice President, Madam, will you do the honors of the Pledge of Allegiance as we are all on mute?
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have a presentation, and that is Mr. Carl Keith, Montgomery County Auditor. Is he with us, Ms. Allen?
Yes, but President Moore, adopt the agenda, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I now need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
May I get a second?
I'll second.
Been properly moved in second. Any questions, changes, addendums, additions to the agenda? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Yes. Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Vanessa, can you hear us? If so, you can nod, or she just called your name.
okay, yes, she said thumbs up, and Miss Moore.
Yes. The agenda has now been adopted. Now we're going to move on to presentations. Carl Keith, Montgomery County Auditor, is up.
So I see a phone number on here, and I was just assuming that was him, but that I don't see him on yet. So I guess we can continue. President Moore, I don't see where he dialed in. We did send the information to him, but I don't see. And I looked at my email to make sure that he wasn't trying to email me to say he couldn't come in. So I don't see him yet.
Okay. Once he comes in, can you let us know, please?
Yes.
Okay. So the next item up is a board report. And under board report is the approval of resolution for payment and wages to food service and transportation employees. Okay. If you guys have had an opportunity to take a look at that particular document, it basically, we did talk about this particular document. This is basically, since we've changed our calendar, we wanted to make sure that we were in accordance with the state of Ohio's executive order due to COVID-19 changes. So in the document, it basically addresses several items. And those items are the board's determination that payments be made to the employees set forth herein are justified for the reasons set forth above and to serve the best interest of the district's students. It's in full effect. And the meat and potatoes of this particular resolution is whereas we announced the district's plan to provide students remote instruction and services during the first 9 weeks, 2020-2021 school year, necessitating additional training of certain staff, adjustments to assigned staff duties, and a delay in the start of the student year, which is August 17th. And whereas food service and transportation classified employees who would have otherwise begun working their full-time assignments on the original start date, which is August 6th, today, might not be assigned full-time work until August 17th. Whereas those salary notices have been issued to both the food service and transportation classified employees for their 10-month, 11-month, or 12-month contract years prior to the adoption of the remote learning model for the first 9 weeks. So basically, we moved the school calendar. We're holding those groups of staff members, classified employees, harmless during this transition, if that makes sense. And this item is actually recommended for action this evening. So I will need a motion on the floor to accept board report item A as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Yes. Okay. We've got a motion in 2 seconds. Ms. Jeter Freeman is going to be able to hear you.
Yeah, just a few problems.
Okay, you worked them out. So
Yeah.
given a motion in a second, do we have any questions on this particular item? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes, I will. Hold on one second. I think that was Mr. Keith, so excuse me. Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
and Miss Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Next item up, under board items is the policy committee updates. And Myra, on this particular item, I believe that we were just going to touch base on our mask policy. I know that Mr. Scaris sent over a template
Right.
from Neola.
Neola.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
And you haven't had the meeting, so we have to have two readings on every policy, but those two readings can happen in the same meeting, I understand. So
Right.
again, I know I have a copy of it. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to look at what that looks like or want to share a few words about the process, meeting with Neola and
Yeah, I did take a look at actually both of them, the one that you sent out and also the one that is from Neola. And I think I know actually that Kim sent out a date for us to think about as to when we can get together and decide on what we might want to put together and present to the board. So we're still in the beginning phases of that, but we should have something as soon as we get a date together with Neola to look at both policies to decide which one will be best to present.
Okay. And I know that a lot of times in looking and reviewing those policies, there's times where we can tweak them and make them more specific to Trotwood. Okay, well, just keep us updated and we'll go from there. All right. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Next item, treasurer's report.
President Moore, could we take just a 2-minute recess for a second? I am trying to send Mr. Carl Keith the link. They can't get on, so I'm trying to send that. So can we take a pause for just like 30 seconds so that I could do that? Or
Ms. Allen, yeah, just take your time, okay? And take care of that email. And I'm somewhat talking to Mr. Scare, so we're gonna get placed, all right?
All right. So, yeah. So I'm trying to send him the link. Okay. Thank you.
I believe this is our first presentation externally. So it'll be interesting to see how the presentation works from someone outside of our network. Usually it's a lot easier. So for those of you who are just joining, or for those of you who may be watching, first of all, Mr. Scaris has arrived. Okay, thank you, Mr. Scaris. We'll make sure that you are accounted for. In addition to that, we are going to have a presentation this evening by Carl Keith, Montgomery County Auditor, who will come in and talk to us about property evaluations here shortly. Ms. Allen is trying to make sure that he has the link. Mr. Scaris, I think that this was your request to the board that we have this particular presentation. Would you like to say a few things since we're waiting?
Yes, I would. A couple of weeks ago, the property reevaluations came out for the city of Trotwood and surrounding areas, and some of them are significantly less than I know most homeowners are expecting. For instance, even since the tornado, there have been vast improvements in our area and our neighborhoods. And if you just take our church for instance, they are proposing a devaluation of $500,000 to our property, and that is since we've made improvements since the tornado. So I think he kind of owes us some sort of explanation as to how he is coming up with some of these figures and how those things affect dollars that the school district depends on in terms of taxes and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ms. Allen?
Yes. President Moore, I handed that over to Ms. Tidd. She's working with the two of them to get on, but I can proceed with my reports if you would like.
Please.
Okay, thank you. I have 4 items to present to you this evening under 4A. The first one is approval of meeting. I'm going to feedback. Approval of meeting minutes from July 9th, 2020.
Excuse me. Ms. Dear Freeman, can you put your phone on mute, please? Some feedback. Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Allen.
Approval of meeting minutes from July 9th, 2020, July 16th, 2020, July 23rd, 2020, and July 31st, 2020. This again is just for information. 4B is an approval for the FY21 amended appropriations. There are just 6 changes. The first change is general fund from last time that we approved it on June 25th. There is an increase of $2 million under general fund. Fund 461, we added $5,000 for FY21. For Fund 467, which is a student wellness and success, we did get an email that they will be giving the district $915,156 additional. So we added that. And then the last one was Fund 536, 536 school improvement. We increased that to $30,000 for FY21. We have not gotten the exact figures, but I wanted to put something on the appropriation last year. For example, for Fund 536, we received $55,000. But right now, since we haven't gotten anything, we are expecting around $50,000. I just wanted to put it on there at least for $30,000. The last 2 are for our special trust and endowment funds, and those both are scholarship funds. And I increased that by $200 for the Historical Society scholarship, and the endowment, we increased that by $250. So the total appropriations for this time, for information only again, is $54,664,658.24. My next one is 4C, approval of agreement for Ohio Medicaid school programs with Westward. Westward is a company that we've used for several years to help us obtain reimbursement for Medicaid eligible expenses. And this will be from July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. This past year, we received, because of their efforts, $253,536.33. This contract is to pay them monthly $2,446, and that total is $29,352. The last one is information again, and this is, I would like your at least recognition or approval for us to enter to an agreement with Bricker and Eckler to file a claim against Purdue Pharma. It's a bankruptcy claim. They are contending that we could possibly receive $5.8 million. And what this is for past damages 2003 through June 2020, and it's related to the opioid crisis. And so I thought I did not want to waste this opportunity. The legal fees are probably going to be about $1,000, and I really felt this would be money well spent. And so those are the 4 items that I wanted to present to the board this evening. Again, they're all for information.
Okay. Are there any questions about any of the items? The only question that I have is on the Purdue Pharma claim. That $5 million is all for Trotwood? Yes.
It says claim estimate for Trotwood-Madison City School District is estimated at $5.8 million, $5,877,313.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions regarding the treasurer's items? Okay, being none, we'll move on to item 5, which is the superintendent's report. Dr. Cosby, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you. So today I have 5 items for you. I have 4 that will be for information that we will just know what they are tonight. But the first one is the approval of our remote learning plan. We have to have it approved to submit it to ODE. The due date on that is August 21st, which would put us 14 days from now, would be August 20th if we hold to vote on it at our next meeting. So I would like for you to approve that plan so that we can go on and get it submitted to ODE. Did everyone have a chance to look at the plan? It's just overall stating that we are going remote with our students. It tells the type of curriculum that we'll be offering. It's a very good plan, as you all know, and Ms. Minor is here if you'd like to hear more, but if you're comfortable with what you read, then I would just ask for your permission to vote so we can submit. So do you want me to move through the others and we come back to that?
No. We would have a motion on the floor and then we can get questions answered, okay? So I would need a motion to accept Superintendent Item A as presented, which is the remote learning plan for submission to ODE.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Well, the plan, I didn't get a chance to look through all of it, but did it address, well, this was just the educational part, and it didn't cover if employees or students get sick and what our protocols are for that, right?
Right,
Okay, thank you.
right.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on the remote learning plan? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Yes. Mrs. Bolton?
Yes.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
Mr. Scarce?
No.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman?
Yes.
And Ms. Moore?
Yes, motion passes.
Okay, thank you. The second item is approval of the Cumberland Therapy Services LLC contract, and that's for speech services. As you know, we have a hard time sometimes finding therapists, so we work with the company, Cumberland. And so this, again, this is just for information. C is approval of the Maxim Healthcare Service contract. They're a new company that we're using, and that is for school psychs. We've heard a lot, and I'm sure you have as well, about the mental health potential problems that will arise from students not being together. You know, so many things to consider. And so we want to make sure that we are taking care of our students in all ways. So emotionally, as far as their mental health and all. So we think that it's important, you know, to have people in place to help us with that. The fourth item is approval of student activity to activity purpose statements and their budgets. This is something that we do every year. So I'm sure you all are familiar with those funds that are raised and then how they are spent to help our students. And the final one is the approval of the personnel agenda. And I can sort of walk you through that, the personnel agenda. And again, it's for information. Okay. 1 second, I'm going to pull that up. So we have on this A1, we have a recommendation for the following certified resignations. And then A2 would be to acknowledge the following certified resignations. A3 will be a recommendation for approval of the following certified staff for the school year coming up, 2021. A4 is recommendation for correction of the following certified staff for the 2021 school year. A5, recommendation for approval of the following certified supplementals for the 2021 school year. And then finally, A6 would be recommendation for approval of the following certified intern for the 2021 school year. And that's all I have.
Okay, are there any questions on these items?
On the mental health and the Cumberland therapy session, so are those services we back out of ESC's contract? And for the mental health, we have those hired directly right now, right? So would this be a supplemental support to our students?
Yes, we do have a contract with Samaritan Behavioral Health for some of that work. Mrs. Mallory, would you like to address this question?
Yes, ma'am. Our school sites do help with, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Barely. Ms. Jeter, can you please mute? Thank you. Okay, go right ahead, Ms. Mallory.
So yes, you're correct, Dr. Cosby. Samaritan Behavioral Health helps with our mental health support. Our school sites also help, but our school sites are also used for making sure that our students with disabilities are tested and assessed properly, and any other assessments that students may need. They support that. And so, yes, we're currently looking to contract with Maxim. They are a bit more reasonable. Janice and I sat and looked at Montgomery County and looked at the Maxim contract and some others, and they're a little bit more reasonable than Montgomery County, actually. And so we've decided to ask for approval for a contract for Maxim for those school psychs. And it'll just be 2 school psychologists. We currently have one that is employed by Trotwood, and then we'll have 2 that are contracted out.
Thank you, Mrs. Mallory.
I have one question. I would have asked it when we voted on it, but I couldn't find the mute button on this new format, so forgive me. On the online learning, or on the curriculum for the online learning, is the Black history that we brought up prior to the decision to go all virtual, is that a part of the virtual learning experience for this fall?
Ms. Minor, will you address that? I don't think that we have gotten there, but she may respond to that.
Right. We have a curriculum identified that we'd like to present. We have something with our negotiated contract. We have to take everything through a curriculum committee. And so that is on the table to be presented to the teachers. It's got a strong music background, and we thought that would be something very good that can be embedded, especially since we're online, with the music that the teachers will be providing. But we'll have to go through the procedures of the vote and presenting it to music teachers. And we were waiting because the teachers just returned this week.
Thank you.
I guess kind of a follow-on to that question regarding Black history and the movement of Black Lives Matter, and the removing of statues of slave owners and things like that. Since we are 99%, African American district, we do need to look at our history books, because one of the things I would not want to be happening now is that we're still teaching within those books some of those things, and that we're replacing those with relevant African American history, true history. If it's something we have to take out, we take it out. But by no means should we, even if it's to the point that we have to have speakers to come in and speak on the real Black history and the real history. It's not just Black history, it's just the history of everything. So that is also a concern of mine.
Ms. Jeter Freeman, I think one of the advantages to being remote is that we are able to, like I said, pull together some of our own documentation. I don't believe we use books in the same way like we used to. And I think you're exactly right that people would question the validity of the history in a traditional book. And in our district, for the reason that you said, the number and the percentage of African American students definitely makes that a priority for us. Mrs. Minor, would you like to add anything to that? I'm sure that's something that we will be addressing.
Yes, we have a couple years ago, you may remember that we invested quite a bit in our libraries. At that time, we also reached out and purchased a lot of updated African American history materials and resources for the course that's offered at the high school. So we feel pretty confident with that. We also have enhanced our online resources, and we have resources that are real time. So as news reports happen with the Black Lives Matter movement, the instead of the students having to read it out of a book where it may be dated, it's real live, updated and there's a lot of videos as well as interactive blogs and things that the students will participate in that are relevant to the cause. So that's a constant renewal of the materials. But thank you for that.
Is there a possible timeline as to when you think, say, when it may go to the curriculum committee to the point to where children are actually participating in that instruction?
We just need to schedule it and make sure that the teachers have access, maybe, after Labor Day or sometime after we get everything up and running. We'd be able to have those meetings and integrate that into the music program. Right now, we're allowing our teachers to get their landing pages set up and a lot of other things, and we don't want to pull them. We're trying to get them to that online training and everything so that is ready to go, and then we'll pull in the meetings to add to and enhance their lessons.
Thank you.
Okay, I've got a couple questions on this Cumberland Therapy Services, and where are they out of?
I am going to look for the contract. Unless Miss Mallory, do you know off the top of your head where they're based?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yes, the company is out of Colorado, but they have different headquarters, in different regions, I would say. But the individual, what they do is they contract. So they contract a speech therapist who lives here in Ohio. And that's how they're able to provide the service. So, and the same with Maxim. Maxim is out of another state as well, but the regional director for Maxim is here in Ohio. And so he contracts with psychologists here in the area.
Okay, I'm just a little confused about this new Stepping Stones group. We've never used them before.
Well, yes, we've used Cumberland before.
Oh, the Cumberland before?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, did we use them for the language and speech pathologist services? Yes. Is that what we used them for?
Yes.
Okay, so we've used them in the past, and kind of piggybacking on Ms. Judah Freeman's question, with the ESC, and Ms. Allen, this might be a question for you. How do we work with the ESC in reference to our speech and language pathologists are having those services to the district?
I can address the financial perspective, but in terms of the actual academic side, I would defer that to the academic side. But I was just going to say, from the financial perspective, if we are contracting services from other entities, then that reduction then would be reduced from the bill that we initially signed a contract for with ESC. They don't hold us hostage. They just bill us for the services that they have provided for fiscal year 21.
Okay, because we pay them quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
Over $1 million, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So
but
the services that we would have,
just for a little input as well, they have difficulty finding individuals who can fill these positions as well. And so it's not like they have a whole handful of school psychologists just waiting to be assigned to Trotwood or to other areas. They have a lot of difficulty trying to find school psychs, speech therapists. Those are jobs that are in the know right now, and they're definitely hard. Those are positions that are hard to fill.
Okay. There was another question that I had additionally, and that is with the personnel agenda. Dr. Cosby, and you may be able to answer, or if Dr. Davis is with us, she may be able to answer. I'm looking at the personnel agenda, and this is new for us, and this is why I'm asking you this. After we have the resignations, the certified resignations, we've never had resolutions this way that I recall. Maybe I missed it, but these acknowledgments of the following resignations, and these are resolutions for these particular positions. Is that, I've never seen it that way. Is that something that is changed in the personnel agenda? Is there some reason that we're doing that way now, opposed to in the past? Yes.
Yeah. Hi, can you hear me? It's Dr. Davis?
Yes, Dr. Davis.
The individuals who are listed that way, they resigned after the deadline to resign per ORC, Ohio Revised Code. And because of that, we did not accept their resignation because it was after the date, but we are acknowledging that they resigned so that we are then able to fill those positions.
I see. So legally, this is a legal process based on when those resignations came in after the cutoff date.
Absolutely.
We are still holding them, responsible for those positions.
They essentially broke their contract with the district. And so we have put out the report to the Ohio Department of Education requesting that they hold their license for 1 year as per Ohio Revised Code. And we informed those staff members of that when they submitted their resignations after the July 10th date.
Okay. That would have been my next question. Okay. Did we inform them? Okay. So they do know that. Yeah.
When they sent their resignations, we explained to them that you understand that you are after the date and gave them an opportunity to say, we will continue working for you until the end of the 2021 school year, as opposed to breaking our contract. They wanted to proceed with breaking their contract with the district despite being after the date. And so we've moved forward with what we were legally obligated to do as well.
Okay, wonderful. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay. I guess it's a good thing that I've never seen that, and that I don't know if anybody on the phone has ever seen that, because we've never had that happen. All right.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Uncharted waters. We've got a lot of things that are happening, right? Okay. All right. Thank you for that, Dr. Davis. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions, superintendent items, guys? Okay.
So, President Moore, can I interrupt you, please?
Please.
Mr. Keith is on the phone. They were not able to go into the link, but they have called in.
Okay. So what we'll do, if there are no other questions under the superintendent's report, we will go ahead and allow the presentation at this time. Mr. Carl Keith.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm sorry we were unable to join you at 5:30, but we were trying. We just couldn't get in. So we're happy to join you this way as well. Also on the call is from my office is Larry Hartlob, who is the Director of Finance and Tax in my office, and then also my Executive Assistant Kevin Stout is joining us as well. I think a couple of weeks ago, your treasurer contacted me and asked me to if I was available to come to a meeting to answer some questions about the values. Recently, I think at the time there's been some story in the press about the values and the impact of the tornado on certain communities in the county. But of course, since that time, we have released the results of our sexennial revaluation that we are scheduled to complete this year. And so you may have questions about the property values in general, the tornado, or what have you. So I'll just make a few opening comments and then be happy to answer any questions you might have. This year, we are scheduled to complete a complete revaluation of property values all across the county. It's a process that we began 2 years ago in September of 2018. And at that time, I said that anticipated that it was going to be a very difficult and challenging reappraisal. This is the fourth reappraisal that I have directed during my career as county auditor. And I said when we started in 2018 that I expected it to be the most difficult one that we'd ever done, the most challenging one. And that was because of the market and the how robust the market was, how active the market was, and how we are seeing these record-setting number of sales and record growth in the real estate market. And that was what I felt was going to be a real challenge for this year. Little did I know that in 2019 that we would have a tornado that devastated thousands of properties across the communities through the county, including in the Trotwood-Madison School District. And then after that, now having to deal with the pandemic and the uncertainties that go with that, and the difficulty that it makes in trying to complete a process like this. So I tried to get this delayed a year. I asked the tax commissioner to allow us to delay this a year. He didn't feel like there was any wiggle room in the law that would permit him to permit a delay. So we have moved forward, and we have filed our tentative preliminary abstract with the state, and it indicates a total increase in property value for Montgomery County of about 7%. That's the highest increase the county has seen since 2005. It's a total gain of $1.8 billion in values for the county. It allows us to almost make up for all of the lost value that we realized as a result of the Great Recession. Between 2007 and 2014, the county lost a total of $3.5 billion. Now, after the 17 update and now this year's update, we've gained back about $3.3 billion at this point. So we've almost gained back to where we were before the recession. We have sent out notices to property owners, and some of you, I hope, have received your notice. Again, they've been going out in phases, and so the last phase went in the mail today. So if you've not received your notice, you should be receiving it in the next day or two. So property owners are getting their notices. It informs them of the tentative new value for their properties, and also informs them if they have questions about that or concerned about that or would like to talk with someone from my office about it. We encourage them to do that and give them a number to do that. Typically, we would have remote sites around the county where we would hold informal reviews with property owners. We are not doing that this year because of the pandemic, but we are doing Zoom meetings or telephone reviews, and that seems to be going very well. We started yesterday, was our first day of reviews. We've scheduled a couple of hundred of those at this point, and we are continuing to do that. And I think they're actually holding reviews this evening, have evening hours every Tuesday and Thursday. So I know they're holding reviews even as I speak. We expect a lot of people with questions. 66% of parcels increased in value. 70% of residential parcels have seen an increase in value. So we would expect to, and that's countywide, we would expect a number of questions as a result of that. The city of Trotwood, or the Trotwood-Madison School District in particular, specifically the school district, have seen results pretty similar to what we're seeing countywide. A total increase in value for the school district of about 7.4%. Residential values up 9%, commercial values up about 3%, so for a total of 7%. Again, about 64% of the parcels in the school district are seeing an increase in value. More than 3,200 parcels are seeing double-digit increases in values. So again, it's been a very robust, very healthy, very active real estate market in the community, which is good for the health of the community. These results would have been higher had it not been the tornado. Certainly, the tornado has had an impact and a negative impact on certain property owners and then the district as a whole. And I know it's had an impact on your revenues as a whole, which is a very unfortunate situation. But had it not been for that, we would have even seen greater numbers here in the Trotwood-Madison School District. So a lot of growth in the community, a lot of growth across the county. And, I know that these are always, it can be controversial every time we do an update. It can be controversial, the results. But again, anyone who has questions or concerns or wants to talk with us, we encourage them to do that. And our property owner hotline number, that number is 937-225-5096. And we have staff available to answer that line between 8 o'clock and 5 o'clock, Monday through Friday. Again, I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Hi, this is Norman Scarce. Thank you very much for coming. We definitely appreciate that. Were there any reevaluations done after homeowners within the city of Trotwood completed any renovations from the tornado?
Yes. And so the results that we're reporting now do not include, and one of the reasons we refer to them as tentative is they do not include things like CAUV, current agricultural use value. Those values have not been added into these results yet. It does not include the results of the tornado from the standpoint of new construction. So new construction numbers will be added to this, and it will net out between those homes that have been destroyed or significantly damaged as a result of the tornado, but have been rebuilt or renovated since the time of the tornado. It will net out those results, and those will be included in this year's final results, but they're yet to be added. You recall last year we promoted the damaged and destroyed property program. There were people whose homes were destroyed or significantly damaged. They could file to have their taxes or their property value reduced, their taxes reduced. And so we had about half of the property owners who were eligible, in our opinion, were eligible for some type of relief, who filed those forms last year. Those reductions are already factored into this year's results. The other half of homeowners or property owners who did not file have yet to be included, and also yet to be included are those that have renovated or rebuilt their homes.
So those homes will be re-evaluated, or do they have to automatically re-evaluate it, or do they have to request a re-evaluation?
Yeah, the homes that have been rebuilt or renovated, we get building permits are provided to us whenever there's a new construction in the community. And so based upon those building permits, we have been in the field and continue to be in the field to review those results. And so they will be automatically included. They do not have to apply to have that done. We have about 9,000 parcels countywide. Now, it's not just in the Trotwood area, or it's not just within the tornado area, but we have about 9,000 parcels that we are reviewing that is considered as new construction in this year's revaluation.
How many in Trotwood?
I don't have that number with me. I'm sorry, I don't have that number with me, but I can find out. I can find out and provide that to your treasurer, if that's okay.
So what about those homeowners that did not necessarily require any building permit to make repairs to their homes?
If they did not get a building permit, and they would be so they're going to receive a notice from us, and and it'll show a reduction in value if that's what we picked up. And when they get that, they would be the ones that we want to hear from. That they would want to contact us and let us know that they have done those renovations. Just to make sure that we've picked them up, I would suggest that they call that number 937-225-5096, and just to make sure and speak with one of our appraisers to make sure that we picked up and can determine what level of renovation has been done. In some cases, and this is we're hearing this from a number of people. In some cases, when they've rebuilt the home, well, the home now is valued as new construction. It's valued at a greater amount than it was prior to the tornado. And so those are the types of things that our appraisers have to re-examine. And so it would be the best thing for people to do that are in that situation is to contact us and have one of our appraisers take a look at it.
I do have more questions, but I don't want to hog all the time. I didn't know if anybody else had other questions.
Go right ahead, Mr. Scarce.
Thank you. Is there any attempt from the auditor's office to market those potential homeowners that may not have had any requirement for building permits to contact the auditor's office, like there is a marketing strategy targeting those people who you want to save money from their taxes? Does that make sense?
So I'm not sure I understand the question. Is there a strategy for us to reach out to people who needs to add to the value of their home, if the value is too low, that as they've recovered from the tornado and they need to add to it? Is that the question?
Right, because I feel like those particular individuals are going to be the ones that fall through the cracks, because not every house was completely rebuilt to where it would require a building permit, but those individuals will take advantage of the lower tax rate because of the decrease in value, but won't necessarily know that they need to contact your office to have a reappraisal done. They're just taking advantage of the lower tax rate or the lower value.
I see.
So is there some sort of strategy from the auditor's office to identify those particular people so their values don't stay low?
Yes. So in addition, again, part of the overall effort, we had to during our new construction period, we have had people in the field. Again, we put that on hold. We suspended some of that work because of the pandemic, so we're a little bit behind. We suspended some of the field work that we were doing because of the pandemic for a while. But our appraisers are back out in the field now doing new construction. They are reviewing the new digital images that we have taken, the new aerials that we have taken, and as they go through this process, that they have what we call a change finder program that we use as we see things that have been added to properties or have been adjusted in properties. We will pick those up. Now, if you're talking about corrections that have been made on the interior of the property, things that have been done inside the property that we can't see from the outside, and there's something that they did and they did not get a building permit, we won't pick those things up unless they voluntarily come to us and provide us with that information. And I guess the only thing in
now,
terms
Mr.
of marketing,
I'm not suggesting that you automatically will know that people have done work inside their homes without telling you. Don't insult my intelligence as to believe that.
well, I wasn't trying to do that either, but some people do invite us into their homes, and some people do ask us to come and during this process. Some people will ask us. I think last time we had about 3,000 people who asked us to actually come inside and take a look in the interior of their home, either because they have done a significant improvement or because they've had damage or there were structural issues inside the home that they didn't feel that we were aware of. And so we understand that. And if there are those types of issues and people do want us to take a look at those things, we encourage them to contact us and let us know.
Okay. One final question I have. Now, you said Trotwood is up like 7%?
Yes. 7.3.
I'm sorry.
7.3, almost 7.4.
And that is in comparison to the last evaluation. Is it up from the last evaluation or just an increase of 7%?
Oh, it's up from the last valuation. Yeah, this is really comparing us to last year. To be honest with you, it's comparing to last year. Kind of to give you a history here, in 2011, the 2011 review, Trotwood, and this I'm just talking about not the city. I'm talking about the school district. In the school district, values were down a little more than 15% in 2011. 2014, they were down an additional 8.5%. In 2017, they were just about even. They were down just a little bit, but not much. So now this is a 7.35% increase compared to last year's totals.
Awesome.
I think it's really good news. I know people, whenever we do these things, it gets a little bit controversial. People concerned about their taxes and everything, but what we're seeing is a lot of growth throughout the county, and a big turnaround compared to what we were seeing during the Great Recession. And I think overall it's good news. Again, had it not been a tornado, and we can't control those types of things. If it not been for the tornado, we just saw a much bigger numbers than this.
And do you know overall, in comparison, Trotwood's numbers, say to our neighboring municipalities like Clayton or Inglewood, or someplace like that? Where do we stand in that regard?
In terms of the increase, of the total increase, I've got some papers here with me. If you give me just a moment, I can probably give you some indication. I can tell you that where we're seeing most of the growth that the county is experiencing is in the southern suburbs. Of this year's increases, more than half of the overall increases have come from the southern suburbs. And that's something that occurs, that kind of growth is what we've been seeing in years past as well. Here, I do have this information. So in Clayton, the total change in Clayton is about just a little more than 3%. In Inglewood, it's about 8.3%. Let's see, if you want to look at Brookville, it's about 6, almost 9. Brookville schools is almost 9%. Butler Township, 4.5%. So sometimes the percentages are misleading because if they started out at a low level, just a little bit of percentage makes a big increase, or they had a big number, just a small percentage increase is a big number. But again, the countywide total is 7%, and you're running above the countywide total. I think the big news there is you're running the residential values at 9%, and so that's that is a high number for all across the county.
Thank you.
Does that help? Does that give you some idea?
Yes, thank you.
Here, just to give you another example. So in Clayton, the residential change in Clayton is 3.4%. In Dayton, it's 6.9. Inglewood is 9. To give you some ideas. For Huber Heights, it's at 9. Again, Trotwood is at 9. So the leading ones, I would say.
Okay. Well, thank you. We appreciate that information. If there are any other questions for Mr. Keith, please take the time to ask. And if not, if any questions do come up, would it be okay for us to contact your office and get those questions answered?
Well, please, at any time. You can contact us anytime. We're happy to provide you any information you need. And again, any of your constituents, if they would like to talk with one of our appraisers about their specific values, that number to call is 937-225-5096. And we do urge people to contact us if they have questions or concerns.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate the presentation. And thank you for getting our questions answered.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too. Okay. Next up would be discussion items and updates. Let's start with opening day, please. You're on mute, Dr. Cosby.
Right, I'm trying to unmute myself. So tomorrow will be our opening day. We're real excited about it. And so you're invited to, this is for staff, of course, and their board members. You're all invited to join in. You're going to get a link from Mr. Foltz, Luke, tomorrow morning, and the majority of everyone will be watching this virtually. We will have about 10 people in the 400-person auditorium. We will definitely have plenty of space to keep our distance. At 8 o'clock, we will have a pick-up breakfast for you. You just pick it up, take it to your room, and have that. And then we will start our program at 8:45, and we're anticipating that it'll go to approximately 10 or 10:30. Looking forward to it. I know this isn't our traditional opening day because it usually happens on the first day that staff comes back, but we wanted to make sure we could do the best presentation that we could. So we're all looking forward to that. Do you have any questions about it?
So typically we have like light breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
The light breakfast will be in individual buildings.
Yes, the breakfast will be in individual buildings and individual bags. So that's a COVID breakfast, a COVID light breakfast. You just come pick it up and take it away and eat it. So we will still be presenting that. Yes.
Okay. In addition to that, so as far as the program is concerned, I know I received an agenda for the program itself, and everything is going to be streamed pretty much live within the district, just internal to the district, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then that will be put on our webpage.
You mean after?
After, yes.
Yeah, we can make a decision to do that. I mean, traditionally, of course, it is the opportunity for us to, meet and greet our staff. It's not so much for the public. We have been, as you know, holding many public opportunities to talk about what we're doing. This is more traditionally an opportunity to speak with the staff.
Okay.
I don't want to promise that we will put it out loud.
I was just curious as to how we were going about making sure that the staff had an opportunity to be a part of it. So so pretty much all the staff and every department will.
Yes.
Okay.
Every department will be able to get on their computers and listen, and unfortunately, there won't be a lot of participation back because of the way we have to do it this year. But we still will do all those things that we traditionally do. We will recognize the longevity of our staff members. They'll still get to see and meet their board members, and they'll get to hear from you, and they'll hear from me, and the new staff members will be introduced. We will have TMEA do a presentation as well, or they'll come up and speak. And so it's going to be basically the same, but totally different.
Okay. Any other questions about opening day? Okay, I have item B, which is a retreat date. And I put that on there because I just wanted to be very proactive. And that is a retreat for the board and the superintendent, as well as the treasurer. So we'll have more information to come. But if you guys can look at your calendars for October, and if we're still, in this virtual world, it will be a virtual retreat like we did before. And then also, as we create the agenda, Dr. Cosby will let you know who else would be necessary for that particular retreat. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, great. And I'm thinking if everybody's in agreement, we could do it on a Saturday like we did before, a Saturday morning, and we can go from there.
Okay. That sounds good.
Perfect. Item C is the Business Advisory Council opportunities.
And I submitted that one because we talked about that before. And I just kind of wanted to know where we were with it, because I know our Trotwood Chamber had some businesses that were looking for interns. So I know we partner with ESC, I believe. Yeah. And to fulfill our requirement to have one. But I think during this COVID time and during time when our students aren't engaged in anything else, it's a time we can look at being real intentional about getting our students out there and potentially engaged in businesses in Trotwood. So I just wanted an update of where we are with it. Thank you.
Okay, well, I am familiar with engaging with the ESC to do your Business Advisory Council. That's the way we did it where I was before. But to be quite honest with you, I have not had a chance to look into that piece, but I will get with the ESC. I can make contact with them tomorrow and find out how that works here. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. Now is a good time for our students to, hopefully become involved with businesses and get some opportunities while they have some time on their hands. So yes, I will look into that and I'll get back with you on that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? What are those Business Advisory Council meetings? I used to get emails when pre-COVID, all right, when those meetings were, and I've attended a couple of those meetings. So I don't know if they're doing them virtual now, or does anybody know exactly where we are with that, with the ESC? Because we joined in with those guys.
Yeah, I'm not aware. I have been attending different meetings through the ESC, but the Business Advisory Council has not come up to my knowledge, unless they're already holding them. And that's just one thing that I hadn't been, included into at this point. I don't know if Mr. Howard knows anything about that from how it worked, last school year.
And I think one of the things, my thought on that really was that when you look at it, the intent of it is for school districts to partner with businesses to see what are the skills that are needed for those particular businesses. So like the Stratacash we have here, huge company. And also the one that's near McDonald, I'm not sure of the name of that because there's no name on the building, but it's those kind of companies that, and I think we talked about this a couple of years ago, where we envision knocking on the door to those businesses to say, hey, what are the skills that you need that we could provide some of our students within our own community? Because that's the part I don't believe our partnership with ESC provides us. I think our partnership with ESC is just to, and I've attended some of those as well, but it's the big overview of, okay, here are the businesses and here are all the schools. But I want us to be intentional about the businesses that are located here in Trotwood, whatever they be. And I know our Chamber of Commerce is saying that they have opportunities for our students to engage and be a part of some of those. So that's what I'm looking for. Because I don't think that's the role that ESC will provide for us. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mr. Howard, did you have something?
The only thing I would say is that the Business Advisory Council last year did send notices and information via the superintendent. So I'm assuming because of some of the other things that have been going on, Dr. Cosby, that they just haven't gotten the procedural things going yet. But I'm sure once they get to wherever they need to be, they'll start sending that information out to you again.
Okay, thank you. I'll look for it. And I also keep in mind what Ms. Jeter Freeman said. being more
I think-
intentional.
Yeah, I think Ella and maybe Lisa maybe attended some of those meetings last year. I know Ella did, and maybe Lisa as well.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments about the Business Advisory Council opportunities? Okay, being none, we'll move on. Treasurer's comments. Ms. Allen, please.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Auditor Keefe for some valuable information. It gives me some hope that our property collections won't be as low as I had anticipated them. So that was good news for me from a financial perspective. And that's all I had this evening.
Thank you. Superintendent comments? Dr.
I'd like to start off with saying that we've had 3 days of our teachers in our buildings, and so far things appear to have been going very well. We haven't had many complaints or concerns about their safety. They feel safe, and that's because we really do have a good plan in place. I've asked each of the buildings that they have any problems with the coming into the building, and we are doing temperature checks when they come in. We do have sanitation stations put up, and I've heard that part is going very well. And also they're doing a lot of training, a lot of continuing training, because it started, of course, in the spring and over the summer. So are there some questions? Of course. Are there some, concerns? Of course, but nothing to the extent that has me concerned. At this point, it seems like we've had actually a great first 3 days for our teachers. Also, I would like to just say that I want to thank my directors. They did a great job tonight supporting me as I asked them to delve a little bit more into their areas of expertise. So thank you. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit coincidentally about some of what the ESC has been doing, because I agree with us. We do spend a lot of money, for services through the ESC. So I want to share a little bit about the types of things that they do for us. So they held their virtual administrative retreat, which is something they do every year for the whole county. You get to have as many of your administrators participate as you would like. We had 20 this year. It was extremely well done. We had a keynote speaker, Kevin Hines, who spoke a lot about, he attempted to jump off the San Francisco bridge, and he survived. And so he talked about what that was like, and it was very powerful for me, I know for sure, and for other people, for us to be aware of what's happening, with individuals as you meet them. But then they had some other sessions that were really good. It ended up being a very good event, and it again made me optimistic that things such as retreats can happen virtually and be impactful. Also, as you know, because we've talked about this one, we did receive on loan those 300 computers through their Learn to Earn program. And we have requested, and my understanding is that in mid-September, we will be receiving over 1,000 hotspots that we can use for our students. And I'm saying that that's mid-September, but we're going to work it out so that even if we provide our students, every student that needs one, a hotspot, when those come in September, and I've talked to our treasurer, we're going to find a way to be able to cut those off so that we no longer pay and put into use those that are being lent to us through the ESC. So they do provide a lot. And as far as meetings go, almost all of the directors have a meeting that is held county-wide. So, for example, curriculum will meet with the 16 curriculum directors. I meet with the 16 superintendents, Mr. Howard with operations, and so on. And it's very helpful because you get to find out what the other districts that are near us are doing. We get to find out what works and what doesn't work, that kind of thing. And so they learn a lot from us as well, for sure. But that collaboration is also a good thing. So just wanted to sort of let you know some of the things that we do get from being a part of the ESC. And I know, we always will be, but I agree we will continue to look at how to bring down that amount that we spend with them each year. And that's all I have.
Okay, well, thank you. Board comments, Mr. Andrews.
No, I don't have anything this evening.
Okay. Mr. Scaris stepped away for a moment. Skeeter Freeman.
I had an idea I wanted to throw out that another parent shared what their school would be doing, and it is virtual drive-through orientation for parents. Mm-hmm. So the parents will get to drive through with their car decorated with the student's name and however they want to decorate it, so that they can, just drive through with the mask on, meet the teacher, and keep going. Kind of like our virtual graduation, not virtual graduation, but our drive-through graduation. So it was just something to think about. I thought it was a cute idea, and it at least allows, especially for those younger kids, direct contact, the eye contact with who will be teaching them for the year, and for the parents as well. So I don't know what we have planned, but I just wanted to share that. And that's all I have.
A good idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Freeman. Madam Vice President?
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's hanging in there with us this evening, and that I am excited for opening day tomorrow.
Thank you. I too am very, very excited about tomorrow. We have just had so many firsts this year, and it is just amazing to see what we've come up with. And Dr. Cosby, I'm excited about the program, looking forward to it, and looking forward to being a part of it as well. Ms. Freeman, I love, love, love that idea. And I don't know what we have planned, but that just it really resonates with me, because we're going to have a lot of psychological issues with our kids. Let's just face it. There's going to be emotional issues because of the connectivity or lack of. Okay, so anything that we can do to champion those opportunities, let's. Even, and I'm gonna, this is a sore spot with a lot of folks, but I'm gonna say it anyway. We had to make that really tough decision last week, very complicated decision about our athletics and extracurriculars. And Dr. Cosby, I don't know if you shared any of the things that I talked to you about, because that bothers me. I'm going to be honest, I didn't even sleep for like a couple days, and not that we made that decision. I stand real strong on that decision, but on the other side of it, which is like a double-edged sword, which are our students. That's the part that I am still grappling with, because Ms. Bozeman made a statement about her son being in the band and what that meant to him. And Ms. Bozeman and I also have older sons that used to be on the Trotwood tennis team together that still meet once a week with their old team from 5 years ago to play tennis, and what that means to them. They were, my son was a little depressed. Yeah, and I mean, they're so depressed because it's just like there's nothing else. There's got to be something else. That's what I'm saying. And we have some really great ideas for what that something else can look like, but it's a challenge for our coaches and for the athletic director and for the principal and for all those that are involved. It's going to take extra work, extra time. The board is going to be very supportive in whatever those recommendations are for. We're doing virtual learning right now. Ms. Bozeman mentioned virtual choir in some places, virtual band, I believe we can have virtual extracurriculars, period. I believe that there's a student that I don't believe he goes to Trotwood, but he's in my neighborhood, and I can see him working out every single morning. He's a football player, and he's got his electronic devices out, and I can hear his coach, and his coach is coaching the players wherever they are. They're literally, it's just like if any of you guys have looked on a platform where everybody's working out, especially earlier in part of the year where in March, you saw all those Zumba classes, and Miss Freeman mentioned a yoga class and all types of things. Why can't we do that in Trotwood? Those kids are going to need something. They're going to need a reason to, to have something to look forward to, because regardless of what happens with this apocalypse, this pandemic, we still want to keep them engaged. They're still going to go to college, some of them, and they're still going to get scholarships. Let them be ready by giving them the opportunity to train. And it's going to look different. Even our negotiated agreement is going to be probably outside of that, Dr. Cosby. But guess what? We can go back. See, what everybody has to understand, the board makes decisions in the best interest of the whole. But if we find that those decisions are not well with our souls, or well with us, we have the ability, along with you, to make some changes in how we do things and what and why we do things. So this is a challenge for our district. This is a challenge for the leadership. This is a challenge for the coaches and also for the parents to let's figure out a way to engage all the extracurricular activities for Trotwood-Madison City Schools. I guarantee you, we have been a trailblazer and we've been a leader in this region anyway with coming out with something. But again, if we can do that, the board would support it 100%. I don't know what it would look like. We would support it. I don't think there's a person on this platform that would say no to doing something extra in addition to unconventional, and maybe even a little crazy, to make sure that we have kids involved. The same way those kids had to be at camp, 8:00, I don't know, whatever time they had to be at camp. Why can't there be a virtual camp schedule? And they jump on, they're accounted for, same with choir, same with everything else we do. I don't know. But I'm just throwing this out. I think it should happen sooner than later. Dr. Cosby, I'm sorry, it's
no, it's okay. I'm just smiling because I don't think that I could present it any better than you just did. And the principles are on here. So, and we can definitely share your idea. And I agree with you. We have talked about it. I've sort of put it out there a little bit, but I appreciate your impassioned plea for it. And I know that they're hearing it, and I will talk with them about what they see as possibilities, because I like the way you put out a challenge. Most of us really like to sort of go for a challenge. So I'm excited to see what we will come up with.
Okay, let us know. We are in support. We will champion it, whatever it is. Get all those coaches together and brainstorm how this can happen. This board, we want to make sure our kids are going to be okay. Now, physically, we made a decision to lock that down for the in-person learning. But emotionally, mentally, and holistically, we haven't quite gotten there. So, and this just doesn't go for athletics. We're talking about all of it. And then some. This is a really good time to be creative. And we have, I better not say this because the treasurer might get really mad, the CFO, but we'll find some dollars to do it. Okay. I don't know what and how that'll happen, but we'll find money to do it because these are extraordinary times. And I'm not just talking, again, sports, football or just, basketball. I'm talking chess clubs. I'm talking debate team. I'm talking this, what did we have? A STEM team with the robotics. Because we've got to get these programs up and going now that we're secure in what we're doing with the in-person academic piece. So, Dr. Cosby, I challenge you. This is a huge directive from the We want this for our kids, and we want it sooner than later. And we want the kids to wake up feeling like they are part of the whole and they are still connected. And no matter what, we're there to support them in whatever it is they need to do or want to do. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm off my soapbox now. Yeah, I used to be a head cheerleader. All right. So, thank you guys. Thank you for all of you who are on with us tonight on this virtual world platform. We appreciate you. We look forward to hearing what you guys come up with in respect to getting our kids back engaged in all the extracurriculars that we can. Utilizing the technology that we have or whatever new technology superintendent that we might need. Okay. And at this point, thank you guys. Appreciate you. I now need a motion to go into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of public official or okay, Ms. Freeman. All right. Or, okay, licensee, regulated individual per Board of Education Policy 0166 and ORC. I'm going to remember this because I say it so much. 121.22 G1 and B to discuss details relative to the security arrangements and emergency response protocols for the public body or a public office per ORC 121.22. Official action may be taken. We just appreciate you, and I need a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and we have a second. Any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call?
Yes, Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mr. Scares,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
and Miss Moore.
Yes, the motion passes. We will now adjourn into executive session. It's 7:02, and then we will resume back into our regular work session for adjournment. So thank you. And that would be Superintendent, the board. Mr. Howard, would you please join us? And Ms. Allen. Thank you.
Yeah. I hear you.
Can't hear you.
Okay, we're back. Is everybody here? We have Mr. Andrews. We have Mr. Scarce.
I don't see Mr. Scarce.
Okay. We have Mr. Andrews.
Yes.
Okay. We'll give Mr. Scarce a few moments. Okay, he'll join us here shortly. However, we are out of executive session and we got out at 7:17. We will resume our regular work session and Mr. Scarce has joined us. So it's perfect timing. So I now need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Being none, Ms. Will you please call the
Mrs. Bozeman?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman?
Yes.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
Mr. Scarce?
Yes.
And Miss Moore?
Yes, motion passes. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great one.